a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept the award from the Monadnock Alcohol and Drug Coalition in the amount of $2,000 for use by youth services. Signed, Mitch Greenwald.
Council Greenwald.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the consent committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Council Greenwald.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Finance Organization Personnel Committee recommends that the city manager do all things necessary to accept this award from the Monadnock Alcohol and Drug Coalition in the amount of $2,000 for promoting health and wellness programs for youth.
Are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, are you ready for a vote? All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Number 12.
Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to a Justice Assistance Grant. On a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept a grant awarded by the U.S. Department of Justice Assistance Grant Program. Signed, Mitch Greenwald.
Council Greenwald.
Thank you. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Council Greenwald. They almost left you hanging.
Ken Miola and Brian Costa have brought us this Justice Assistance Grant. Keene Police Department has been awarded a grant in the amount of $14,657. This is going to be shared by the city and also the county sheriff's office. The Keene portion obviously then is $7,238. The money is going to be used for communication equipment, specifically system diagnostics and some scheduled replacements. These grants definitely reduce the funds that are necessary for the taxpayers. So it's a very good idea, and gratefully I'm very pleased that we have received this grant.
Okay, are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, are you ready for a vote? All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Number 13.
Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to the sole source for a Parkin Hannafin THM analyzer. On a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to designate Parker Hannafin as the sole source provider of a THM analyzer at a cost not to exceed $37,498.25. Greenwald.
Council Greenwald.
Carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Council Greenwald.
Okay, and we are talking about trihalomethanes.
Methane.
Trihalomethanes. It's a chemical that's in water. It's very important that we test for this. We now sample in 4 different locations. We have our own machine, which is what this company produces. We'll be able to test more often and quicker. So this is a very important thing. It's a unique proprietary equipment, meaning their process is not something that you can just pick up on the open market. And therefore, this is where the sole source, meaning going straight to them and not out for open bid. The faster we get this information, the faster we can correct problems. It's not necessarily a cost-saving issue because for state compliance, we still have to send in samples via the regular testing laboratories. This will allow the staff to be able to test the water quickly and respond quickly if there is an issue, and also be able to sample a greater number of sites.
Thank you. Are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, are you ready for a vote? All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. 14.
Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to Cheshire TV operating and lease agreement. On a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to negotiate a renewal operating and lease agreement with Cheshire TV. Signed, Mitch Greenwald.
Council Greenwald.
Thank you, Your Honor. Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Council
Thank you,
Greenwald.
Your Honor. We have a number of issues going on with Cheshire TV, Channel 8, and part of solving all the questions and some of the details of this basically comes up within a renewal operating and lease agreement with them. Not getting into the specifics of some of the issues that have been raised, but this will authorize the city manager to sit down with the management of Cheshire TV and talk about things and hopefully negotiate a renewal agreement which may solve some of these other questions. This is not negotiate and execute, this is negotiate and come back and tell us what's been worked out.
questions or comments? Seeing none, are you ready for a vote? All those in favor? Opposed? It's unanimous. Number 15.
This is an informational report from the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee dealing with some emergency funding for well number 4 roof repairs.
And we will accept this as informational. Number 16.
Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to the Cheshire Rail Trail Phase 2. On a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept a donation of $41,000 from the Monadnock Conservancy and to execute a grant for $30,000 for the State of New Hampshire Recreational Trails Program, and that the money be allocated for the Cheshire Rail Trail Phase 2 project. Signed, Mitch Greenwald.
Councilor Greenwald.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilor Greenwald.
Not many people are aware, Keene had something called the Rural Improvement Association of Keene. And Mr. Bill Prentice, I guess was the final trustee of that or something. His mother and grandmother or so forth were involved in this. There was a balance in that which has gone through the Monadnock Conservancy, $41,000, which is what Mr. Prentice brought forth to us to use in the Cheshire Rail Trail Phase 2. That, along with a grant for $30,000 from the State of New Hampshire Recreation and Trails Program, will give us the money to carry this out. Cheshire Rail Trail Phase 2 involves Whitcomb's Mill Road to Hurricane Road and will improve the path along 1.3 miles of the Cheshire Rail Trail heading towards Surrey and Westmoreland. Ken Stewart of the Monadnock Conservancy came forward representing them. The Monadnock Conservancy is a nonprofit group that works with communities and landowners to conserve natural resources, wild and working lands, rural character, and scenic beauty. And, this is a wonderful combination of funding that will facilitate the Cheshire Rail Trail Phase 2. Very nice seeing Mr. Prentice. He's very much a bit of Keene's history. I think his family founded the Sentinel. So, you know, they go way back, and he really cared a lot about Keene, and he made a big effort to come make a presentation himself. So I thank you for coming.
Thank you. Are there any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Opposed? I do want to join with Councilor Greenwald in expressing my thanks and gratitude to Ken Stewart and to Bill Prentice. Bill Prentice and I go back a long way, and I really appreciated him making the effort to come here and make this presentation to the city. Number 17.
Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to the Woodland Cemetery Wetland Restoration Project. On a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to execute a professional services contract with GZA Geo Environmental Inc., not to exceed the amount of $38,700 for engineering and technical services for the Woodland Cemetery Wetland Restoration Project in accordance with the State of New Hampshire DES Aquatic Resource Mitigation Fund guidelines. Signed, Mitch Greenwald.
Councilor Greenwald.
I move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilor Greenwald.
Thank you. This concerns the Woodland Cemetery area that was damage done to the wetlands, and this program, the Aquatic Resource Mitigation Fund, which is overseen by the New Hampshire Department of Environmental Services, came forward with this $38,700. This will do engineering and technical work for this restoration project. There was a interviewing process. 4 staff members, engineering, planning, parks and recreation departments were involved in the screening of the different firms, and they were ranked according to the criteria. And this company, GZA Geo Environmental, was selected as the the best combination of all the criteria. So this is to authorize the city manager to do all things necessary to carry forward in execute the contract.
Thank you. Are there any further questions or comments? Councilor Haig.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would just like to add that this is an opportunity for the city to really do the right thing. This wetland has been heavily impacted for quite some time. As a former member of the Conservation Commission, I know this has been on the agenda for a long time. It's exciting that staff was able to obtain highly competitive ARM fund grant funds, and it's just fantastic to see this moving forward, so I hope we'll support it.
Thank you. Are there any further questions or comments? Seeing none, are you ready for a vote? All those in favor? Opposed? Number 18.
Finance Organization and Personnel Committee report relative to the airport master plan update. On a vote of 4-0, the Finance Organization and Personnel Committee recommends the city manager be authorized to do all things necessary to accept and expend grant offers from the Federal Aviation Administration and the New Hampshire Department of Transportation, Bureau of Aeronautics, in the amount of $220,500 and up to $12,250 respectively for the Dillon Hopkins Airport Master Plan Update Project. The balance of the project cost of $12,250 is the responsibility of the city. Signed, Mitch Greenwald.
Councilor Greenwald.
Move to carry out the intent of the committee report.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Councilor Greenwald.
Thank you. Ed Mattern, our airport director, has procured a grant, as the clerk said, $220,000 for an update of the airport master plan. FAA requirements require that this document be updated on a 10-year cycle. I think it's a good idea to keep it updated anyway as times change. $220,000 is the total grant. We get $12,250 from the state, and the city cost is $12,250. The master plan update will also include efforts to examine the existing facilities, particularly the terminal building and the city-owned common hangar, and will assist us in determining what's the best way to maximize the functionality. So, Finance Organization Personnel Committee recommends we accept the grant and send the city manager to do the paperwork.
Okay, are there any further questions or comments? Councilor Clark.
Yeah, thank you, Your Honor. I just wanted to mention that as with all grants that we receive from federal aviation, et cetera, there are those same strings attached that we have to keep in order to receive